Hello and welcome to News Central Now. Good morning. My name is Mazino. First, we take a look at the headlines for this morning. Labour Party ends 14-year Conservative reign in the UK with landslide election victory. Civil Aviation Authority suspends license of 10 private jet operators over commercial operations. Mali, Burkina Faso, Niger military governments to hold first joint summit on Saturday. Details shortly. Good morning and welcome again. We begin with the just concluded general elections in the UK, where Keir Starmer's Labour Party has won a landslide victory and will form the next government, ending 14 years of Conservative rule. Starmer, while speaking to activists, cautioned that change would not come overnight, even as Labour won a swath of Tory seats around the country, including from 9 cabinet members and former Prime Minister Liz Truss. Truss's disastrous 49-day tenure effectively sealed the Tories' fate with the public 2 years ago when her unfunded tax cuts spooked markets and crashed the pound. Prime Minister Rishi Sunak concedes defeat to Keir Starmer's opposition Labour Party in the UK general elections, saying he takes responsibility for the loss. The trend showed that the opposition Labour Party had won over 400 seats, while Sunak's Conservative Party is on 110. Sunak will tender his resignation to head of state King Charles III, with the monarch then asking Starmer, as the leader of the largest party in Parliament, to form a government.
The Labour Party has won this general election, and I have called Sir Keir Starmer to congratulate him on his victory. Today, power will change hands in a peaceful and orderly manner, with goodwill on all sides. That is something that should give us all confidence in our country's stability and future. The British people have delivered a sobering verdict tonight. There is much to learn and reflect on, and I take responsibility for the loss. To the many good, hard-working Conservative candidates who lost tonight, despite their tireless efforts, their local records of delivery, and their dedication to their communities, I am sorry. I will now head down to London, where I will say more about tonight's result before I leave the job of Prime Minister, to which I have given my all. I will then return here, to my family's home, and I look forward to spending more time with you all in the weeks, months, and years ahead. Thank you.
And for more on this, I'm joined by our international correspondent, Afua Hagen. Afua, good morning. Good to have you on the news this morning.
Good morning.
Yes. Now, Afua, we've just seen a very emotional Rishi Sunak there, but would like to know what exactly the mood is like in the UK, knowing that Labour has won the Prime Minister's seat.
Well, we've woken up to a very, very rainy and cold July morning, unseasonably so here in the United Kingdom. But there is definitely a sense that change is on the way, that, there's 410 so far seats that the Labour Party has won. That is a huge majority. They have gained over 200 seats from the last election. That definitely a change is going to come. However, we do have Reform gaining 4 seats. And of course, we do have the Conservatives losing over 200 seats as well. Now, there is a feeling that a lot of what's happened in this election is not necessarily about a win for the Labour Party, but it is about the Conservative loss. You can see the Liberal Democrats there up to 71 seats. They had just 6 in the last Parliament. So that's a gain of 65 seats. So this election, yes, it is about the Conservative, it is about the Labour win, but it's more about the Conservative loss. And in fact, the Labour Party in this election have gained less of a share of the votes than they got in 2019 when they lost the election. So that means that they actually have got less votes this time than they did last time. But this time they have won the election, and last time they were wiped out. And that is about lots more people, yes, voting for Labour, but more people voting elsewhere for Reform, for Liberal Democrats. And also the turnout is around 60%. So less people voting overall. So yes, the mood is that change is coming, but also the mood is that this election was all about getting the Conservatives out by any means possible.
What are the possible changes that could be expected with Keir Starmer now taking over office?
Well, his first 100 days are going to be absolutely paramount, and they're going to set the tone for his next 4 or 5 years in government. So he's going to have to look at education. You know, we have universities that are slipping down the league tables, universities that are running out of funding, and lecturers that are widely underpaid. So education is at the top of his in tray, and his education secretary, when he appoints one later on today, will have to have a look at that. The NHS, the National Health Service. We have seen strikes from doctors and nurses. We had doctors on strike recently in the past couple of weeks. It's going to be about sitting down with the unions, which the Labour Party are more open to doing than the Conservative government have ever been. So sitting down with the unions that represent the doctors to try and negotiate pay rises, better working conditions, and retaining staff within the National Health Service so we can get down waiting lists and get a healthier nation overall. There's also international geopolitics that Sir Keir Starmer, now Prime Minister Keir Starmer, will have to deal with. He's got a NATO meeting coming up very soon in the next couple of weeks. We have a war in Ukraine. We have a war in Israel-Gaza as well. And so those are issues that Sir Keir Starmer will have to deal with in the immediate future. And of course, immigration, a really hot topic that's been, on voters' minds during the course of this election and actually well before that as well. The government's plan to send asylum seekers to Rwanda, Sir Keir Starmer has said many times that he thinks this idea is ridiculous, expensive, and won't work, but he needs to come up with an alternative. So that will also be very important for him to get his head around in the next 100 days. And the business of government happens immediately. Even though we've had an election, the country has still been ticking over. The business of government still needs to be done. So there will be no time for Keir Starmer to rest on his laurels, to perhaps get his feet under the table, at the kitchen table in 10 Downing Street. It is straight to work for him. And this process that we have of one Prime Minister to another is very, very quick.
It's very interesting because Keir definitely has his work cut out for him. But let's go back to the Conservatives now. Now, even if they lost, Rishi Sunak still kept his seat. Exactly how does that implicate the elections here or the processes or anything?
Absolutely. Rishi Sunak actually was very lucky that he managed to keep his seat in Yorkshire. You had other Conservative heavyweights like Liz Truss, who was the former Prime Minister, Defence Secretary Grant Shapps. They both lost their seats, so they are out of government. So he can retreat back to his constituency and continue as an MP, working for his people in his constituency without being the Prime Minister. He is still the leader of the Conservative Party. So come Prime Minister's questions next Wednesday, Sir Keir Starmer and Rishi Sunak will have swapped places to be on the other side of the House, and they will have to face each other in Prime Minister's questions. So he can absolutely continue doing that. Whether he will continue doing that remains to be seen. When he conceded earlier on this morning and overnight, he said that he was looking forward to going back to his constituency and working there in the months, the days, weeks, months and years ahead. That's what he said. Now, whether that will happen actually is up to the Conservative Party. They may decide that, look, he is the person that led us to this terrible loss, therefore he has to be replaced. That is absolutely up to them, and that's something that they will be deciding on over the next few weeks. But the challenge becomes is that because you've had so many Conservative heavyweights, like I mentioned, removed from their seats, lost their seats in Parliament, who is of the experience to be able to take over as a Conservative leader, because you have to be a serving MP in Parliament. And to be honest, there isn't many of them left in the Conservative Party. So they might think it's best to stick with Rishi Sunak as the Conservative leader, or they might go for fresh blood to take them into this new political phase.
Oh, replaced but not lost. Tell you what, I want to see a reaction to Keir Starmer's acceptance speech. So let's take a look at that now, and when we get back, you give me your reaction, yes?
Thank you. Thank you so much for that reception. What an amazing reception. We did it. You campaigned for it, you fought for it, you voted for it, and now it has arrived. Change begins now. Enjoy this moment. Nobody can say you haven't waited patiently. Enjoy the feeling of waking up on a morning like this, with the emotion that you do see the country through the same eyes. Hold on to it, because it is what unity is made from. But use it to show to the rest of the country, as we must, that this party has changed, that we will serve them faithfully, govern for every single person in this country.
So, Afua, there we see his acceptance speech. But I'm very curious regarding what plans, perhaps, maybe especially the international relationships with UK and Africa. Well, to be specific, what could happen with the relationship between the UK and Nigeria with Keir Starmer now in office?
Well, it's very interesting that in his speech there, he was talking about unity and he was talking about change, things that I heard many times this week that people wanted from this new government. But when it comes to UK-Nigerian relationships, I think, the UK post-Brexit has to be very, very focused on building relationships to trade with people outside the European bloc. And the continent of Africa is one of those places where it has been looking, and Nigeria is one of the countries that it has to maintain a strong relationship with. And I think Sir Keir Starmer would do very well to make sure that that relationship remains fruitful and remains strong. There's a huge Nigerian population here in the United Kingdom. This week I've been talking about the British Nigerians who have been running in this election, the 30 candidates, and the British Nigerian vote and how strong that has been. So Nigeria and Britain historically have very, very strong ties, and those ties will continue. I was talking about immigration earlier on as well, and how lots of people are worried about legal and illegal immigration. We have seen caps on people coming here on work visas, the amount of dependents, the family they can bring with them, and also if you are marrying someone from this country, the amount of money that person has to earn. We hope that the Labour Party, or people hope that the Labour Party, will see that some of those restrictions are too strict, and some of them need to be relaxed so that you can have better working relationships. Look, our National Health Service is propped up by people who come to this country, Nigerian people included, doctors and nurses who are the backbone of the National Health Service. Look, my mother and father, both from Ghana, came to this country to work in the health service. Our health service would be on its knees without immigrants coming here, working hard and propping up. So those relationships are very, very important. So I think Keir Starmer needs to make sure that when it comes to issues like immigration, people from Nigeria and other countries are treated fairly.
Well, thank you very much, Afua. That's a very, very precise of the situation currently in the UK. Thank you very much once again.
Thank you.
Now let's go on a break. When we get back, more news here on News Central. Welcome back. And back to Nigeria now, where the Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority has suspended 10 private jet operations over failure to begin the recertification process. This is contained in a statement signed by the Director of Public Affairs and Consumer Protection, Michael Achimugu, on Friday in Abuja. The agency said the Nigerian Civil Aviation Regulations 2023 forbids holders of permits for non-commercial flights from using their aircraft for carriage of passengers, cargo, or mail for hire or rewards. The suspended operators are Ezekiel Dredging Nigeria Limited, Bly Aviation Safety Services, Ferry Aviation Development Limited, Matrix Energy Limited, Marietta Management Services Limited, Worldwide Skypath Services, Martini Airline Services Limited, Aerolead Limited, Skybird Air Limited, and Izuma Jets Limited. The authority also warned that it is illegal to engage PNCF holders for commercial purposes. To the judiciary now. The Court of Appeal sitting in Abuja has dismissed the ex parte order given by the Rivers State High Court in Port Harcourt stopping Martin Amaewhule from parading himself as Speaker of the Rivers State House of Assembly or carrying out such legislative function. The appellate court also reserved judgment in the appeal filed by the governorship candidate of the Social Democratic Party in the November 11, 2023 Kogi State governorship election, challenging the judgment of the State Election Petitions Tribunal, which affirmed Ahmed Usman Ododo of All Progressives Congress as the elected governor of the state. Marvelous Obomanu reports.
Apprehension ahead of the judgment of the Kogi State Governorship Elections Tribunal. A three-member panel of justices of the appellate court, while presenting its final decision on the matter, reserved judgment in the appeal challenging the election victory of the Kogi State Governor, Usman Ododo, to a date that will be communicated to parties involved after they had all adopted their briefs. The counsel to the candidate of the Social Democratic Party, Pius Akubo, urged the court to set aside the judgment of the Kogi State Governorship Election Petition Tribunal and declare his client as the governor of the state.
The court has painstakingly given time and attention to the respective counsel to the parties to argue the appeals. On our part, we've argued the substantive appeal challenging the decision of the tribunal with respect to the evidence led by INEC staff, PW1, and Beavers machines tendered, which showed overvoting overwhelmingly. And we are hoping and trusting that the court will dispassionately look at the case we have made in our briefs and to do justice according to law in favor of the appellants.
In his own submission, the counsel to the governor, Kanu Agabi, prayed the court to dismiss the appeal filed by the candidate of the SDP and his party for lack of merit. The chairman of the APC in the state expressed optimism that the court will uphold the judgment of the tribunal.
As far as we are concerned, we don't have any case, and we are so confident from the tribunal. We know that the judgment will go the way of the tribunal because we are sure of our case, and we are not urging them, but they will do what the Constitution permits them.
The lingering issue in Rivers State involving the dispute at the State House of Assembly also came up for hearing. The appellate court, in determining the issue of jurisdiction, says that the Federal High Court is exclusively the only court that can hear such matters and not the State High Court. The three-man panel upheld the appeal filed by the factional Speaker of the State House of Assembly, Martin Amehule, and 24 others against the Speaker, Victor Okojombo, and 2 others. All the noise and the dust raised by the sacking of Martin Amehule and 24 others from the Rivers State House of Assembly have now been blown away by the judgment of the Court of Appeal. The big question is, will Martin Amehule and 24 others continue on their earlier plan to impeach the Rivers State Governor, or will they rescind? Interesting days lie ahead in Rivers State politics. In Abuja for News Central, Marvelous Oboma.
Meanwhile, some lawmakers from Nigeria's House of Representatives, also known as the G60 lawmakers, have reacted to the recent Court of Appeal judgment in Abuja, which voided an earlier judgment by the Rivers State High Court declaring the seats of 27 lawmakers loyal to the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nelson Wike, vacant. The lawmakers spoke to newsmen in Abuja saying that the court did not decide on the legality of their decampment from the People's Democratic Party, thus they remain sacked as state lawmakers. They say the factional speaker loyal to the Rivers State Governor, Sims Fubara, remains the valid speaker of the Rivers House of Assembly till the issue is resolved.
That the pro-Wike 27 sacked Rivers lawmakers remains sacked, their seat remains vacant, as the appeal court today didn't decide on the legality of their decampment and the declaration of their seat vacant. And let me re-emphasize again, appeal court did not void the declaration of the seat of the 27 pro-Wike lawmakers vacant. They didn't void that declaration. Okejumbo still remains the speaker, pending when the issue of the legality of the decampment.
Now joining us on the news to discuss this is Secretary Asari Tory LGA, Sela Francis. Sela Francis, you're welcome. Good morning.
Good morning, and thank you very much for having me.
Thank you for joining. Now, how does the recent Court of Appeal judgment affect the current composition of the River State House of Assembly, if you'll tell us, please?
Well, first, River State is very peaceful and calm. When we had the judgment yesterday, Rivers indigents were happy in celebration mood. The Court of Appeal has rightly done what it is supposed to do, citing its strength, drawing its strength from the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 as amended, Section 272 sub 3, which clearly states that no state high court has jurisdiction to determine the tenure or declare vacant the seat of state assembly members. And that power is vested in the Federal High Court. And that position is what we also oppose to. And we await the other side to either go to appeal to Supreme Court or do the necessary thing as decided by the Court of Appeal, which is to approach the Federal High Court to start the matter all over again.
So according to lawmaker Kenga that we've just heard, these 27 lawmakers have had their sack voided. However, he also stated that their seats are still vacant and they are not lawmakers of the state. So please, if you can you clarify exactly the status of these 27 lawmakers whose seats were declared vacant by the River State High Court and subsequently addressed by the Court of Appeal?
With due respect to Honorable Goshinyere, he's entitled to his opinion. You know, sometimes I wonder his sudden love for River State and how he reacts to issues emanating from River State when he is not even from River State. Recently, we had issues in Imo State, where he's from, where gunmen attacked military officers and killed them in their numbers. He pretended as though he never knew. He didn't say anything, but every little thing that happens in River State is the first to run to the media to speak. He is not a court. So whatever he has said is entitled to his own opinion as a Nigerian. The court has decided, it will continue to decide. And we as law-abiding citizens of River State, whatever the courts of law say is exactly what we will do, not what the Goshinyere says. He's not a court and he can never be the court.
Okay, so what's your position on the lawmakers, the decampment of the lawmakers from the People's Democratic Party? Your position now?
Well, the Justice Wade, in his ruling, said they should not parade themselves as lawmakers. Now, the Court of Appeal has said, look, you do not have that power. You don't have that right. You don't have the jurisdiction to entertain that matter. It simply means that they will start parading themselves as lawmakers. It's as simple as that. There is no ambiguity in it.
Okay, so are you saying that they are or would be allowed into physical places of office, or that they would perhaps maybe find themselves or find their ways into these offices since this claim has been made by the court? Is that what you're saying?
The truth is, as at this morning, they have never left their places of residence. The official House of Assembly quarters is where all of them are. As at this morning, they have not left that place, and they will determine where they will sit. It is not the governor that will tell them where to sit and where not to sit. It is within their powers to decide where they will sit.
Unfortunately, there we've lost contact with Sela Francis, but thank you for joining in any case. I think you've made your point clear there. Let's move on now to politics. The Edo State chapter of the People's Democratic Party has insisted that Asue Godalo remains the party's flag bearer in the coming governorship polls in September. Now, this is coming as Justice Iyangeko of the Federal High Court in Abuja on Thursday voided the February 2024 election that produced Ighodalo as the ground on the ground that 378 delegates who were supposed to vote at the primary elections were unlawfully excluded by the party. Marvelous Obomanu tells us more.
February 2024, Nigeria's People's Democratic Party in Edo State held its primary election to elect its flag bearer in the upcoming September governorship poll. The ballot had 10 candidates, including the immediate past deputy governor of the state, Philip Shuaibu. However, Asue Ighodalo was announced the winner of the primaries by the party officials after securing 577 votes to beat his closest rival, the former deputy governor of the state, Shuaibu, who got only 1 vote. This did not go down well with the former deputy governor, who says that the list of delegates for the election was tampered with by party officials loyal to the governor who did not support his candidacy.
The people that I saw at Samuel Okmuras today were not delegates. They were staff of government. I said that. So as far as I'm concerned, I've been vindicated. I said it from day one that what transpired in Samuel Okmuras Stadium was just likened to a birthday party's reception or a wedding reception, because the authentic delegates were not there. Don't forget, I used the word authentic delegate, and I'm happy that the court has vindicated me.
The case was brought before the Federal High Court in Abuja. Justice Inyang Ekwo, while delivering judgment over the claims, voided the primaries held by the party, saying 378 delegates who were supposed to vote were unlawfully excluded. However, since the judgment by the Court of Appeal, there have been diverse reactions, as those loyal to the party say the judgment was taken out of context and dismiss claims that the election has not been nullified. The PDP in Edo State are also attributing the claims to the handiwork of mischief makers who are unsettled with the rising popularity of Asue Ighodalo.
This honorable court did not make any order nullifying the primary and the election of Dr. Asuerime Ighodalo as the PDP candidate who won that primary election by 577 votes. What the court said is that some delegates were excluded. And don't forget that those delegates under section 8414 have no locus to question the primaries. We owe the duty to this nation to tell the truth. And don't forget that my Lord Justice Eko, a very seasoned, very cerebral judge, did not make any order nullifying the primary.
A certified true copy of the judgment is not yet out to resolve the ongoing disputes regarding the position of the court. The PDP has also not made it clear it will be appealing the judgment. However, party faithful will be hoping that the rumors claiming their candidate has been disqualified from the upcoming poll remains untrue. In Abuja for News Central, Marvelous Obomman.
Now, the federal government of Nigeria has warned states and local government areas to brace up for increased river floodings as the country enters the peak of the rainy season. The Minister of Water Resources and Sanitation, Professor Joseph Utsev, handed down the warning at a news conference on Thursday in Abuja. He said that precautionary measures should be taken to avert possible disasters from such occurrences. Utsev said states had been alerted following recent reports highlighted in the 2024 Annual Flood Outlook as unveiled by the Nigeria Hydrological Service Agency. And commercial activities were grounded on Wednesday in Lagos following a 10-hour downpour in many parts of the state. The resulting flooding grounded vehicle movements on the roads and overwhelmed hundreds of residents, although the Lagos state government says the rain lasted for 9 hours. In some parts of the state, it stated that it started at midnight and did not subside until late in the evening. News Central's Bettina Nweli reports.
Many times, when people see videos of floods on social media, it's almost very hard to believe. Now, this is Bolaji Omopo Street of Shomolu, Lagos. And this time yesterday, the entire area around here was flooded with water, entering the homes of people, destroying their valuables, and even affecting the businesses of some of the people that live in this area.
Residents of Bolaji Omopo Street in Shomolu went to bed with everything normal
only to be woken up in a pool of water in their various apartments. Valuables and personal effects were damaged, and in some cases, lost owing to the volume of Wednesday's floods.
Yesterday the water was so much, they spoiled many things, bed, the chairs, including television, everything. Because we didn't expect this, that doing would now spoil everything now inside. This is the first time. I just got said, not like January 1st. This is the first time of experience. For my sis child, yesterday, the water carried up from that canal side.
Òjò àná tó rọ̀ lánàá yẹn pọ̀ tí ò dẹ̀ ṣẹlẹ̀ rí ní street. Ó pọ̀ gidi gan ni tó jẹ́ pé ó wọ ilé everybody ní street. So kí wọ́n jọ àrò wọn ni kán bá wa wá nǹkan kan ṣe sí. Ó wà fẹ́ẹ̀ tí ọjà ó gbé ata lọ báàfù tí mo fi ń ṣe gbogbo ẹ̀ lóòrù lọ. So kò dẹ̀ sí nǹkan tá a fẹ́ ṣe ṣe àti gbà fọlọ́run nísìnyí.
Yes, at about 4:30 a.m. I witnessed that there was a torrential downpour of the rain. And before we could know it, from the bedroom, from the parlor, everywhere, there was surging of water coming inside the building, inside the house. Our properties were damaged. Boxes, fridge, shoes, traveling bags containing documents and books. As you can see outside there. Since I packed, this is the first time I'm witnessing it.
According to a statement by the Commissioner for Environment and Water Resources, Tokumbo Wahab, Lagos experienced about 9 hours of non-stop rainfall since the early hours of Wednesday, coupled with heavy rainfall which the state had been experiencing daily since last week, resulting in the rise of the Lagos Lagoon. However, experts argue that environmental issues which go beyond the volume of the rain abound.
There's been this argument all the time, does Lagos have a wetland policy, a wetland protection policy? And somebody says, oh, we have. Where is the action that is being taken to preserve these areas, to channel water into these places? There are buildings that are springing up. If they are not directly on the wetland, they are actually causing an obstruction for water to flow into those places. Design-wise, what can we do?
Although the government has been on top of the situation with the clearing of some flooded areas and canals, an earlier approach would have tackled this menace. Residents are advised to desist from wading through floods with their vehicles as they could be swept away, irrespective of the number of occupants. Residents are further advised to avail themselves of daily weather reports issued by the State Ministry of the Environment and Water Resources, as it serves as a guide to daily itineraries. In Lagos, for News Central, Bettina Nweli.
Moving to court matters now, also broaching on entertainment. The child custody case between Sophia Momodu and Adeleke David, popularly known as Davido, is about to be heard at the High Court of Lagos and will be presided by Honorable Justice A.J. Bashua. The suit was filed by Adeleke David against Sophia Momodu, praying the court for shared custody. However, Sophia Momodu has filed a 102 paragraph of counter-affidavit vehemently opposing the affidavit of David Adeleke. Now, joining us is News Central correspondent Nii Omoni, who is standing by now. Nii, good morning. Good to have you here on the news today. What's the situation currently?
Good morning, Mazino. Yes, we're right in front of Court 1 at the High Court in Yaba Division. And this is the court of His Honorable Justice A.J. Bashua. And he's going to be presiding over the lawsuit initiated by David Adeleke, a.k.a. Davido, popularly known as Davido, against his former or his ex, if we put it that way, Sophia Momodu. And now we know that this has been a case that has been ongoing for a while, and a lot of people were caught by surprise when David actually decided to launch this suit against his former, noting that his wedding to his wife currently was just a few days ahead, and with other accusations. Now, David claims that he has been providing for housing, feeding, transportation, and even sometimes occasional travels for his daughter, whom was birthed in 2015 with his former girlfriend, who they met in 2014, dated till 2017, and they had a little break and revived old flame again in 2020, then called it quit as of 2022. And the claims are that he needs unrestricted access to his daughter, who is Imade, and that's his first child. And so far, he has also laid other claims that his former, which is his ex, has been using his daughter as a means of siphoning him and making outrageous demands. And his former has come out to say that that's not true, that this is a case of alleged sex for child support, that it's because she has refused to give him her body, and that's why he's now taking this move. In fact, a month ago on one of our accounts on Snapchat, she hinted on changing the surname of the daughter from Adeleke to Momodu. And I think that might have been what have inspired us. Since she has been performing the role of the father and, of course, the mother, that must have been one of the reasons why Davido is taking this step. But we can't see Davido currently. We are waiting for the court to rise so that we can hear what they have to say. But so far, we've not caught any glimpse of David himself and, of course, Sophia Momodu herself in court. But we've seen some of their legal representatives, and we'll be having those conversations with them. As you can hear, the door is being shut now. I don't know if they're about to start, but once we get more information, I'll be able to give you in details what the court's proceedings look like and what has been decided.
It's very interesting that this is happening almost exactly a week after his wedding. Do you think that him being married currently is going to have any implication on the judgment from the court?
Well, I really can't preempt the court at this time, but speaking with the facts that we know, the court will just look at the evidence it has or has been presented by the legal representative of both parties, and of course, we'll be able to come up with a decision. Let's look at it here. What Davido is asking is for joint custody. He's not asking for sole custody of the child here. And from Davido's claim, from David Adeleke's claim, his claim is that he wants unrestricted access to the daughter so that at least he can perform his obligation as a father. But Sophia is claiming here that since she has stopped giving David her body, he has actually stopped those obligations. So they are not here to tell us their own side of the story verbatim. So I can't really preempt that this is what the courts will say or this is not what the courts will say. Once the court gives us a ruling on what the judgment is, if David will actually get joint custody, that's not for me to decide. I guess the judge will have a say on that and we'll be able to give you feedback.
All right, then thank you very much, Amani. We'll be expecting more from you later. Thank you indeed. Now let's go on a short break. When we come back, there's more news inside of the hour. And you're welcome back. Now, the military rulers of Mali, Burkina Faso and Niger will on Saturday hold their first joint summit since seizing power in a series of coups. Niger's junta leader Abdourahmane Tiani will host Ibrahim Traoré of Burkina Faso and Malian ruler Assimi Goïta in Yemen from Friday ahead of the summit. Their meeting will be held on the eve of a summit of the Economic Community of West African States. The three countries announced their withdrawal from that major bloc in January, and its remaining members have called for them to rejoin. The three juntas are hostile towards their countries, former colonial ruler France, and other Western countries, and instead have turned to other partners such as Russia, Turkey, and Iran. Now, Ghana's presidential candidate from the ruling New Patriotic Party, Muhammadu Bawumia, has selected Energy Minister Matthew Opoku Prempeh as his running mate ahead of December elections. The party's National Executive Council unanimously approves the choice, setting the stage for a political season that will focus on the country's economic challenges. Ghana is experiencing its worst economic crisis in years, and it will be a key issue at the polls as President Nana Akufo-Addo steps down after 2 terms. The West African Stable Democracy is currently under a $3 billion loan agreement with the International Monetary Fund to address the crisis. Now let's go on for sports. Now, President of the Cameroon Football Federation, Samuel Eto'o, has been fined $200,000 by the Confederation of African Football. This penalty was imposed for breaching ethical standards outlined in the CAF statutes. Specifically, Eto'o violated these standards by entering into a paid brand ambassador agreement with a notable betting brand. Notably, he was acquitted of more serious allegations related to match fixing and manipulation. The disciplinary board concluded that insufficient evidence existed to substantiate claims of match manipulation against Eto'o and his co-accused, Valentine Nwakwane. And Argentina goalkeeper Emiliano Martinez emerged as the hero as they secured a place in the Copa America semi-finals with a 4-2 victory on penalties over Ecuador following a 1-1 draw in regular time. The match saw Lionel Messi's chipped penalty hitting the crossbar early in the shootout, but Martinez saved Ecuador's first 2 attempts. Goals from Julian Alvarez and Alexis Marc Allister put Argentina in control. Nicolas Otamendi sealed their win after John Yeboah briefly kept Ecuador's hopes alive. Despite Ecuador's late equalizer through Kevin Rodriguez, Argentina had taken the lead with Lisandro Martinez's header before halftime. The victory means Argentina will face their Canada or Venezuela in the semi-finals. And top seed in women's singles at Wimbledon, Iga Swiatek demonstrated her dominance with a straight sets victory over Petra Martic on center court. Despite moments of resistance from Croatian, Swiatek capitalized on crucial breaks late in both sets to secure the win. Martic's efforts were hindered by a back injury that required a lengthy medical timeout during the first set. Swiatek's triumph extends her winning streak to 21 matches. Despite her success, particularly in Grand Slams, where she is a 5-time champion, Swiatek has historically faced challenges on grass court, never advancing past quarterfinals. In the upcoming third round, Swiatek will face Julia Putintseva, who upset Czech 27th seed Katrina Siniakova. And that's all on the news this hour. But before we go, let's take another look at some of the major stories. Labour Party has ended 14-year Conservative reign in the UK with landslide election victory. Civil aviation authorities have suspended licenses of 10 private jet operators over commercial operations. And we also told you that Mali, Burkina Faso, Niger military governments are set to hold first joint summit on Saturday. Remember now, you can send your eyewitness reports to the WhatsApp number on your screen right now, and do follow us on social media. We are at News Central TV. You can watch News Central live on DSTV channel 422, Star Times channel 274, Able TV, and of course on YouTube. Many thanks for watching. My name is Mazino Appeal.